Hi guys, my name is FA for those that don't know me. I do have a YouTube channel, it's called Hi, it's FA if you want to check me out there. Kind of make content surrounding LGBTQ plus stuff, lifestyle, commentary, advice, kind of just chatting shit about life and trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing, but documenting it. So if you want to check that out, feel free. I'd just like to say thank you to Maddie for reaching out and giving me this time to speak about Black Lives Matter and this movement, for her putting in actual action, not just posting it on social media, even though that helps, keep on doing that, don't stop. But in this video I kind of want to clarify what the movement is about and give you guys some of my experiences. That's basically it. So if you're lost, you don't know what's going on, I'm gonna give you the information, don't worry about it. Stay tuned, you stay tuned. So firstly, I just want to preface this by saying I kind of want people to educate themselves on the Black Lives Matter movement, meaning understanding the Black lived experience on their day-to-day, understanding where they're coming from, and also to preface that this is not an attack on white people. This is basically an attack on the system, on corporations, media, systems that basically condition people to believe that Black people are less than. This is an attack on your subconscious racism, biases towards Black people, an education of how not all Black people are painted under the same brush as being lazy, criminals, and an understanding that Black people have been demonized in media, and just giving you an education of what it is like to live as a Black person and be in this world. What I'm very passionate about and what I kind of want to be seen done is to change the school curriculum, history to be more specific, speaking about Black British history, speaking about the Windrush generation, showing people that Black people did exist in history. Our story isn't just slavery. Story goes deeper. We have culture, we have a community that is not just to be demonized. But yeah, I'm kind of pushing towards that sort of change, educating young minds, and also just people actively questioning their subconscious, their automatic assumptions of Black people. Why do you feel scared towards a Black person? Why won't you talk to a Black person as comfortably as you would talk to a white person? Just pushing for equality and all that good stuff. So this kind of brings me onto the topic of my lived experiences and my family's lived experiences, and how it is being brought up Black and what we believed as Black people growing up. This is kind of an example of our lived reality, or my lived reality, but this is very synonymous with other Black people's experiences. I'd like to give an example of how white people have been seen as the norm, even when I was younger. You can probably relate to this story. So we're in art class around primary school time, year 6 time is when I really remember, but it's probably always been happening. I asked my friend for the skin colour, and it's just very normal for them to pass a peachy colour pencil. Just very normal. You'd ask the teacher, they'd pass that. It was just a normal act, it was just a normal thought to pass peachy skin colour. And then it was only until year 6 we started questioning, like, wait, why is this the skin colour? Because this is not my skin colour. I started being conscious that I'm different from the rest. I started being conscious of the lack of representation when I was young, because even simple things like that in school, you're like, what? That's so crazy that we think that this is skin colour across the board. It kind of shows you how erased the Black people were in people's minds and in representation, basically. Like, we weren't being seen, and it was just a normal thought, it was just a normal act. So that's kind of an example of just your subconscious playing a part in being racist and you don't even know, or thinking white is the norm, basically. Another example that's probably universal across every school is obviously hairstyles and extensions and wearing your natural hair out, what that comes with. My old school, secondary school, has been on the media for it. It was an absolute outrage. The head teacher wanted to ban cornrows and banned single braided extensions, which is a protected style for Black people. When questioned, he starts stuttering, and the fact that he was so comfortable to say that in front of the school and say that to young kids was what was crazy. What people don't know was people like in the school that, or ex-pupils that were in the school, we got a hold of the tape because one girl recorded it and recorded their encounter. I don't think I still have it, but basically they were questioning him, but he was basically kind of saying, you understand what I mean, right? You understand what I mean, you understand where I'm coming from, when they didn't. So they asked about, what about afro hair? And he, like, afro, like, leaving it out, what about my afro hair? And he was like, oh yeah, no, that's fine, just as long as you don't make it a fashion statement. What about my hair is a fashion statement? So it kind of shows you that he himself felt so comfortable to say that it's so ingrained in his subconscious that that's a normal thing to assume, that's a normal thing to say to a Black person. Never question that. Quickly get out your phones and type in on Google professional hairstyles, and then type in unprofessional hairstyles and see what comes up. This has been ingrained in our society for time. This is what Black people experience on a day-to-day, even going into job interviews and questioning whether they should wear their natural hair out. Quite frankly, we don't. It gets worse as you go higher up in corporations. We've been taught to succumb to just white normality, fitting ourselves in, basically believing that if we want to get anywhere in this society, if we want to progress in this economy, we have to succumb to looking more white, presenting ourselves in a way where society will accept us, and that's looking white, that is having more and more white features. And what that does to your psyche and what that does to your self-esteem is just crazy. And there's a lot of black people that have a lot of internalized racism towards themselves. They don't see themselves as, I know for me, like I never used to see myself as equal with my white counterparts and my friends. Like I'd always assume that what comes out their mouth will be taken more seriously than what comes out of my mouth, and even if we have the same thing that comes out of our mouths, that they will always be taken more seriously, because black people have been seen as uneducated for so long. Like I remember school time, teachers and some people will be surprised that I got a good grade. And I also like to give an example of my dad's lived experience and what he's been telling us as we were growing up, the conversations that he would tell us and like the experiences that he would have in work, basically kind of pre-warning us that can't be naive to the fact that we're going to be discriminated against. Like, yeah, so he's a doctor. There's a lot of encounters where he's worked with people and they refused his services, and he'll be the only doctor available and they will still refuse it. He can't do anything about it because this person's sick and he has to take care of them. He has a duty of care to take care of them, and he can't just push them aside because they're not going to be seen because he's the only doctor available. And it wasn't until he finished his services, and very good at his job, so when he finished, the lady was just like, oh, actually you're really great. I want to see you again. Crazy how she felt so comfortable to say that she doesn't want to see him. And that basically goes to show that because racism isn't so blatant in today's society, just because there isn't obvious segregation and laws aren't segregating blacks and whites, just because that's been abolished doesn't mean that people's minds have changed. There's people that lived in that generation that still live on, and they teach it down to the next generation. And so racism isn't, you're not born with it, you're taught. What this movement is basically saying is stop the demonization of black people. Yes, there's bad apples in our race, there's bad apples in every race, but you don't see that perpetuated on the media as much. Black people have been targeted for ages. We've never been seen as equal to everybody else. We've always been bottom barrel in every society. Everywhere you go, black is bottom barrel. Every country you go to. This movement is basically telling people to wake up and understand that this is not an attack on individual races. It's an attack, like I said in the beginning, on your subconscious, on systematic racism. And there are some people watching this that won't understand that black people live their day-to-day lives questioning whether they should write their full name on their CV or disclose their race on their CV. Black people have the anxiety of going into a shop and making it seem like they're not stealing. So there are some people watching that have never thought to abbreviate their name for it to be more palatable to society, and so people don't associate their full name with something negative. There's people that are watching that have never lived through feeling uncomfortable going to Tesco, feeling uncomfortable that you're being watched, feeling uncomfortable touching items in the shop just in case you're accused of stealing or being followed around in the shop. There's some people that have never lived through. And there are some people watching this that have never questioned whether they should speak a little bit quieter. There's some people that have never questioned how they come across to certain colleagues, that don't question how are they going to be perceived in their workplace. Black people have been taught to get further in this society that we have to be palatable. We have to change the way we speak. We have to change the way we express ourselves because we don't want to be accused of anything negative. We don't want to lose our jobs because we speak about on racism. We don't want to call out racism because we're going to be seen as the angry black person. And this is why it's so important for people that aren't black to speak out. As sad as it is, non-black people have more power. White people hold a stronger voice than we do. We can speak as much as we want, but it's not until a white person stands up that people maybe start listening and processing, oh my gosh, maybe there's something to this. So 2020 has been a madness, but this madness is needed. I'm just gonna leave this here. I'm sure Maddie will leave things in the description below, like books to read to educate your beautiful mind. But yeah, that's me. I'm not always this serious. I can't lie to you. So if you want to check out my YouTube videos, that'd be great. Thank you so much for watching and hearing me out, and I hope that gives you a bit more clarification. That's about it. Keep on educating yourselves, and thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Alrighty, I'm gonna go now. Okay.